Hello, everybody. It's time for Smartacular with Jez and Mass Hobo. And here he is. Hey, Mass Hobo. What's up?
Not a lot. How's it going, girl? Hey, you got the name right the first time. That's good.
You know what? I was just really giving myself quite a pat on the back. I was like, I said the right title for the show. I'm 56. I have menopausal brain lapse sometimes, and I can't remember things like the name of the podcast that I came up with.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't remember all the stuff all the time.
Me. No, and you know what? Because of that, I want to say something positive right now because we all need some positivity in the world. It's Monday right now when we're recording this. And I've had a kind of a Monday-ish Monday. It's not been the best.
Right.
How was yours? Was yours okay?
It was pretty normal for a Monday.
Yeah, which other words, it's like shitty and it sucks. That's usually how Monday feels to me. I start out with a deep, deep sense of denial that the weekend is already gone.
Yeah.
Every time. It's like, how does a weekend go so fast? And I had to do a lot of shit this weekend, so it might have been that. But
yeah, you
before
were busy.
We get into them,
you were busy.
Lots of things and stuff. I had like the whole 4 weddings and a funeral like weekend. Literally, there was a funeral and there was a wedding. So I wanted to share with you, though, Mass Hobo, something that I got a few years ago when I was in Las Vegas. I was in a very classy shop that sells very classy stuff. Of
dildos?
Course.
They sold dildos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had, it's like you're in Vegas. So there's like dildos next to the shot glasses. And then there's
shot
like
glasses
salad
that look
tongs.
like dildos.
Yeah, salad tongs that say Las Vegas on them. And then wooden bowls. And then, everything. All that shit was there. So I found this little thing that's called affirmators, which is like a little box full of cards that are like little random things that are supposed to make you feel good.
Yeah.
So I think that I found one that I wanted to share with you because I think it's about us. It is called, let me see if I can find it. I'm going through here. It's not beauty. It's not that one.
I don't need to know anything about that one. I'm already there.
No, you're beautiful enough. You're
Thank
very
you.
beautiful. Okay. This is called Ideal Partnership. And just so you know, on the card is a little bottle of Merlot with a little slice of like cheese.
Is that brie? Is that supposed to be brie?
It's supposed to be brie.
I'll be the
brie. You can pick whichever one.
I'm pretty soft.
You want to
like
be
brie,
the cheese?
So.
Okay. I guess I'm sour like Merlot. I don't know. So here's what it says. Ideal partnership. I am a rare and precious find. And my brilliance will be reflected back to me when I am paired with a true match. My ideal partnerships and working relationships are easy and free-flowing. I deserve greatness because I am greatness. And to paraphrase Rumi, what I'm looking for is also looking for me. In fact, he or she might be paraphrasing Rumi right now. That's us right there. Pretty deep.
Yep.
Pretty deep. So little wedge of brie. What did you think about that?
It was beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true. Do you believe any of it? I mean, it's nice. It was a nice sentiment.
It's a good way to think about it.
By the way, just so you know, I'm apparently maybe proposing to you because I'm down on one knee. My bottle of wine is on one knee to your cheese.
That's cool. I ain't got nothing going on this weekend.
Well, hey, I went to a wedding last weekend. Is it against the law to be married twice? I don't know.
I think so, but I don't know how that works if there's not a license involved. It's only illegal if the government gets involved.
You know what? I think you're right. I mean, can't we just be like common law and then I can have the one with the certificate?
Yeah.
I think we should totally get married. I'm into it.
Okay.
Totally into it. But I never want to meet you in real life. I never want to live with you.
We'll each get ordained over the internet and we'll officiate our own wedding.
Sure. It's like a drive-through self-serve. Yeah. I think it'll be beautiful. I've had several other weddings for myself before, so this would be a little bit different than the other kind.
I've been in one, so.
Oh, Well, then, you know what? Second time's a charm for you. And like, I'm not going to name the number for me. The other one I want to share with you before we move on and talk about some really interesting stuff. This one is called self-love. And you can take this as you will. I openly embrace a feeling of self-love, the PG kind. I love myself because I understand myself. I love myself as the most committed partner I will ever have. I show myself love any way that I can. And when I screw up, I remember to be sweet and gentle with myself. If not, I'm going to make myself sleep on the couch. Got that, self? I didn't say these were good, by the way. I just said they were affirmators and I got them in Las Vegas. That's all I promised. But why can't we have the self-love why can't we have the non-PG kind?
I think in case somebody accidentally buys that, not knowing what's in the box. I don't know.
You don't want to walk in on
have somebody
walk in on you when you're
That's a different card collection you have to buy. Okay. That comes with the dice that you roll to tell you what you're supposed to do.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
We'll have that at our wedding reception. We'll have that game.
That's cool. You like Twister kind of.
So speaking of which, I have I don't know what you did all weekend, but I wanted to give you kind of something we can all relate to is going to weddings, having to attend weddings. And, some people are totally into that. They love to go to weddings and they're like, oh, they're beautiful. And they exchange their vows and it's so lovely. And people cry. And, it's very touching to see people join together for the rest of their life. But on this particular day, I had to go to a memorial service before. So I had to find an outfit that fits both things because there was a 2.5 hour drive in between the end of the memorial service and the heading out to the wedding. So I had to kind of find something that would go with both moods. And the memorial service was lovely. The person that passed away was a lovely person. And so, those things are hard for me. I don't like to cry in public. And you now have to cry in public with a mask on.
Oh.
And I'm not a pretty crier. Do you know what a pretty crier is?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a
person.
Pretty cry.
It's a person where a tear like drops down. It like runs down their face and it's very beautiful. And maybe one off the other side too. And they're kind of, it's like how they cry in the movies, like where the tears just kind of gently go down and it doesn't ruin their makeup or anything. So I'm like the opposite of that. And so when I cut loose, the floodgates come open and I have tears streaming. My eyeballs like swell.
Yeah, your eyes get all swollen and raw and
puffy. I get this big red mark on my face and my nose runs like a sieve. Like I snot while I'm crying. And I often make a noise like a So that started happening because I was sad, and
as it
I had
happens
to get up
with
and
people
say
who are
something.
sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this was so I had to get up and say a few words, and I always start out really good on that kind of stuff. I say something kind of funny, people, something,
and then you start to
nice
remember
and
things, and
relatable.
you're like, "Oh no, this is going south real fast in my head."
That's exactly what happened. So, and the person who was kind of hosting this has said things like, let's keep this light and let's try not to, let's remember some happy things. So I totally started on that track of happy things and it derailed and I was not able to talk and I was sobbing by the end and I was like the last person to talk. And then the person who was kind of running it said, after I got done, they hugged me. And I went and sat down as I sobbed and snotted into my mask. And they're like, okay, now let's go ahead and end this on a lighter note.
Right? You're like,
damn it.
I had one chance. I fucked it up.
I did. I totally did not do a light thing. So they lightened it up and it was fine. But I had to actually take that mask off and just mop down my face. It was a hot mess. And so I get in the car and I'm still snotting afterwards. Like it won't stop. It's like,
That's
it's
because your
nonstop.
tear ducts are touching your nasal sinuses. So when you cry, it actually goes into your nose. That's why your nose runs.
God damn it. It did that. That's exactly
That's
what was
happens.
happening.
That's why every time if you really cry tears, your nose will always, every time mine does. Anybody I know does, because those passages are connected, and so your tear duct will actually drain into your sinuses.
You know what, Smartacular listeners? I want you to understand that you're going to learn important shit like that right there. That is important stuff to know. So if you're one of those people who feels like you can only listen to podcasts where you're really going to learn something, there
go.
It was. Your sinuses
like minute 10,
are connected.
10, 15. We'll try to put a marker in the description or something,
that says, hey, learn some shit here at this marker for sure. So we got in the car. I met my friend and we got in the car and we weren't going to make the wedding ceremony on time. We knew that we didn't have enough time to get there. So we were driving down and trying to watch the wedding on Zoom and getting ready. We got there. Of course, when you're trying to hurry, there was no parking. So we had to go out and walk
default
through a muddy field of whatever in our finery.
Yeah.
In our wedding finery.
Why not?
And isn't that nice? I love it. So we got in right after they said, Mr. and Mrs. and announced their name, which is perfect because I don't like wedding ceremonies personally. I feel I don't know. I'm a girl and I know I'm supposed to really get into and enjoy the wedding ceremonies, but I don't. I feel, I don't know. How do you feel about weddings?
I'm used to them, I guess. Most of the weddings I've been to were, a couple of them been lighter. I haven't really been to that many weddings now that I think about it. Almost everybody, most of the people on my dad's side were already married. Actually, I have a wedding coming up in December that I'm going to try to go to. It's my cousin. But everybody else was either already married by now or we didn't make the wedding for whatever reason. Or they were, too far away. We didn't go, whatever it was. Or we had something happening, how it is. So I haven't really attended that many weddings. I went to my own. That wasn't bad.
That's good.
Yeah. I showed up for that one.
Wasn't bad.
Now, probably shouldn't have, but whatever. No, I'm kidding. I
Hindsight.
wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. Everybody that's going to get all fucking butthurt about it. No, but they're not that bad. It just depends. Most of the, like I said, the ones I've been to were usually, we were raised Catholic, so a lot of them were like church, heavy church, which it felt like being in church, so.
Catholic weddings are like a workout. Like you're up and down off that
They've actually kind of fixed that. They actually kind of fixed that. It wasn't that well. There was times, yes, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah, but
I just,
I know what you're talking about because the church services are like that.
Yeah, if it's a formal,
you'll get your lunges
back in the day. Yeah.
If you alternate legs,
Jesus.
you'll be good for. You won't have to do leg day. If you go to.
Yeah, I'm like, should I?
You don't even have to be Catholic. Just go and follow along with what everybody else is doing, and you'll get your lunges in if you alternate legs every time you hit the pews.
And much like the workout that I like to have afterwards, you get like a little wafer and some wine. So that's totally the kind of workout I like to have. You get booze, so
and
I'm into that
Catholic
part
church.
of it.
Well, I don't know if they've changed it recently or not, but yeah, when I was growing up, it was wine.
It might have been. This might be showing how long it's been since I've been into a church because it's been a long time. So the church those things could be different. Church doesn't like me to show up anymore, so I don't go.
But the one thing about that wine, another little factoid because it just popped into my head. If they have extra wine, they can't dump it down the sink. You can't. There is a special sink they have that goes directly outside and goes into the ground because you're allowed to pour it into the ground. Because in Catholicism, that is no longer wine. Once it's been, I guess, sanctified,
Blessed.
I'm not sure what it has now become Christ's blood, and you don't dump it down the sink. It's not supposed to go with the fucking sewer water, so it goes back into the ground to go back into the earth.
Yeah, Christ's blood, like you don't throw that down the sink with the coffee grinds and put it through the
No, you don't.
disposal.
You don't run through
That's
the
very
disposal.
disrespectful. That's really not right. So I'm glad that they do that. And I
never knew
also
that
think
until
they
I went through the class because when you're around 8, 9. It just depends on when you do it. You go through, God, now I'm going to screw it up.
CCD?
Well, with
Like
CCD, I went through like my entire life. But it's, God, now I can't think of the name. I feel like an idiot because I did it. But it's like a,
well, it's obvious that religion is important to both of us.
Can't remember the official
when you
name
do
for
your,
it, but you become an adult in the eyes of the church, essentially. Like, you're allowed to actually take legitimate mass. Like, you can, usually that's about 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So you learn all that sort of stuff in that class, like,
and
all the ins and outs.
You learned that the wine was, and I feel like they could just hand the wine to me. I'll take care of Christ's blood. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I used to go to, we're going to get back to the subject of weddings, but we talked about CCD, and I want to say when I was growing up, my mother was a Jehovah's Witness, which would be a whole podcast.
Yeah, that could be a whole
of things and stuff. I will say that my husband, there's a story he loves about me, and he says, "This is why I love you," is every time you tell this story, it reaffirms why I love you. When I was 4, we would go to Jehovah's Witness church. And, you're not baptized into that. They give you a choice.
Yeah.
And I think by 4, I had already made my choice, which was I ain't having nothing to do with this shit. And I was 4. And my mom left me and my sister at the end of the pew while she was kind of, scooted down and sitting next to one of her friends. And I got so bored during the middle of the guy talking, the brother or whoever was up there giving the speech, that I took my coat off and I put it on backwards. And I brought the hood up over my face and like pulled the whole hood up over my head because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see it. And then I got my sister to do it too because I'm like, you should do it too. You should do this too. So she did it too. And my mom drug us out
absolutely
of the service into the bathroom. And we got, spankings.
Got your ass beat
in there. Yeah, got my ass beat in the thing. And I was like defiantly proud. Like I was like, it was worth it. It's totally worth it, Mom. Like I'm 4 and I'm like, I don't want to associate with this. So we had to go back out and sit down. And I was like, should I put this back on over my face again?
Do it.
Should I?
Jehovah told me to.
That's what I wanted to say I'm being spoken to right now. So I didn't, because I didn't want my sister to get in trouble again. But my husband loves that story because he's like, and I said, you know what? I was like that the whole time. Like I was just not buying into it. I was 4 and I was like, I'm not down with this. It's keeping me away from cartoons on the weekend. It's ruining my social life that I have to come here. But when I was older, my mom got disfellowshipped. Like she got kicked out.
Damn.
Thank God. I know, when I was about 12.
How do you get kicked out of Jehovah's church?
Because they would kind of change up the rules, and they decided that you couldn't smoke cigarettes anymore. And my mom was not going to give up cigarettes for God.
So there was a line.
She had her limits, and it was nicotine.
And yeah, sure. Nicotine is greater than Jehovah.
Yeah. For 100%. She was like, all of a sudden the light came on in her mind and she was like, no, we're not Jehovah's.
So it was like Dirty Harry, a man's got to know his limitations.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure she just lit up when she was telling him to fuck off. No, I'm totally going to keep smoking. So I got to go to everybody else's church at school then, because I wasn't in a Jehovah's Witness anymore. So a lot of my friends where I lived they were either Mormon or they were Catholic or they were Methodist. So I'd go to their different things. And the reason I like CCD is it was Wednesday mornings before school, before junior high.
Ours was always Sunday between the early mass and the late mass.
Yeah, they did theirs.
And we
Wednesday
called it,
mornings.
if we did it after, or if we waited to early mass and we went to the one after, we used to call it, we said CCD stood for Catholic Church Detention.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
this
not to hijack
free.
Your story. Go ahead.
No, CCD is fun for everyone. I liked it because really all it was a pancake breakfast. They just had pancakes.
We did not get food.
You didn't get food? Well, this was why I went. I was a fat girl and I wanted the pancakes.
I mean, I probably would have went more if they offered pancakes too.
Right? So it was pancakes and bacon and eggs. And I was like, well, damn, I'm going to go get breakfast. I know it was good. And then there'd be about 15 minutes where the junior pastor, or not the main, what are they, father? I don't know. Bishop? I don't fucking know.
Some call
what
him,
is their,
oh God, now.
I know he was father, so-and-so. But the younger guy who was kind of hot, that was maybe reason number 2 why I was going for the pancakes and the hot
I used to know all this, and
guy.
God, I hope my mother never stumbles across this.
Oh, I'm gonna tell her now.
My kid is going through it, but they're Lutheran on her mom's side. Mm-hmm. She's going through the Lutheran thing, so they call them vicars, but it's not a vicar for Catholic Church. And now
it's a priest. I know that they're priests.
There's like the father, and then there is a guy under him, and I cannot remember his name. They're allowed to get married and stuff. They're allowed to like get married and have kids. Now, an actual priest is not allowed to get married, not unless the rules have changed.
It's
but
not
usually
a
the priests live not far from the church. They live like the church I grew up at. He lived across the street in a house like the church paid for. Like he was always there.
This it was adjacent, like the house.
Yeah, yeah. And Lutheran and Catholicism are almost identical in the long run when you look at them. There's only a handful. I mean, it was what Martin Luther did. He hammered them all to the door of the church and then got excommunicated from the Catholic Church and started.
He didn't get, it wasn't for cigarettes for him. It was something
I don't think
else.
it was. I think he wrote a list. So it was he.
See,
I mean, at least he went out. I mean, he came out with the big guns. He nailed something to the church door, man.
Yeah, he was not messing around.
No,
so I went for the pancakes and the hot assistant priest, we'll call him. And there was always cute boys there because a lot of the Catholics were cute. I was not there for any of the lessons of Christianity. None of that. I mean, I had already made my statement on that when I was 4. And I pretty much stood by that statement that I don't want to be here. I'm going to put my coat on backward. So at the end of pancakes, the assistant priest, or whatever you want to call that dude,
would
deacon. Come out.
The deacon.
Oh, the deacon. Oh, the
That's
deacon went down. Yeah, there's a song about that. The deacon would give his little speech to us horny teenagers, because that's really what was
I liked
there.
our deacon. He was a cool guy. He was really nice. Our pastor was a really good, nice too. Really nice dude.
They were more, these talks were all often geared towards why you shouldn't be horny. And, trying to say sex was bad and don't do premarital sex and all those things. That was almost the talk every Wednesday. And all it made me think about was how much I really wanted to have sex with that guy who was telling me not to have sex. That assistant, the hot assistant deacon, I guess, or whatever he was. I was like, I want these pancakes. I want this bacon. And I feel like I want to make out with you too, even though you're telling me we shouldn't. I feel like we should. So I was not a good, they were not going to let me come into that religion. I could just visit. I was just a visitor. And I would visit the other churches too if they were offering any buffets or any good yum treats of sorts. But I was always kind of checked out by the time I got to any kind of lesson. Now, I did know there was a little room that you went and did a confession in.
Yeah.
And I was always a little jealous because my Catholic friends were the rowdiest ones of all, who did the naughtiest stuff.
We were the rowdy kids.
And were drinking the most because they only just had to go confess.
That's how some people see it. That is true.
Yeah, that's what they did. I mean, we were teenagers, so I'm sure. And then they'd be like, well, no, I just have to go confess. And then they're going to tell me to do some
50 Hail Marys or 50 whatever, and you're good to go. It's a fresh start.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow. I was like, I'm not religious.
I was a kind of a ballsy kid because there's 2 ways to, I don't know if it's like that at every Catholic church. I think you have the option. Ours didn't have the separate booth like you see in TV and movies. It's off to the side and there's the little booth you go in and he slides the divider and he talks to you through the screen so he can't see your face, all that shit. There is a screen there, but ours wasn't like that. There was a room in the back of the church, but it wasn't like a booth that was all ornate. It was just a fucking door you went in and then there was a divider and then you could go around the corner and sit face to face with the preacher. I always sat face to face. There's
you had some balls.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to admit this right up front.
Yeah.
Well, I had to do this thing called, because, we were outcast Jehovah's Witnesses now. We couldn't do that. Thanks, Mom, and you're smoking. No, actually, I was really glad. I was quite joyful. I finally got to have Christmas when I was 12. Fuck. But anyways, I had to do a thing called accountability. Like when I did something wrong, I had to be accountable for it. I didn't just get to go confess it and then get Hail Marys. I had to get caught doing it, was usually how it happened, and then get punished by my mom and dad. And that was usually something like being grounded and losing my car for a month, which felt more like I might have learned my lessons, because I feel like I was sometimes more well-behaved than the Catholic kids who were wreaking havoc and just... We did have the ornate booths. They did have the ornate booths.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Ours just didn't. I don't know if it was just the church or whatever, because the church I went to had been around since the mid or late 1800s, and it was.
Oh wow!
It's a beautiful church. I should go back and get really nice pictures of it, because the front of it, depending what I called it the front of the building. It's really not. I don't know. It was literally and it probably had like, I guess 20, 30, 40 foot ceilings, like from bottom to top. They felt that way as a kid. If I went in there now, it would probably be different. But yeah, growing up, it was like, oh my God, but they had stained glass from bottom to top.
Oh yeah, lovely.
And it's, real, it wasn't like windows. This stained glass was like inches thick. Like it was not, it was bricks. It was not like little stained glass panes. Like if you were to try to run into it and like break through it movie style, you'd fucking die. You'd smash against it like it'd be a concrete, because everything was set with grout. It wasn't a window. It was a wall of glass, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was one of the prettiest buildings in the entire city. And but yeah, it's just, that's the ornate for that building, was like you saw it and you're like, oh damn, that's old school. Like that's old school church. Like
yeah, you're like, I'm really feeling like maybe I should go and, confess.
Yeah, it was like that. And they had,
like it's really,
there was a little separate
vibe.
area off in the corner that you could take kids that were being rowdy too, like little babies and stuff. They was crying. They had a little room that was kind of quiet, but it wasn't that quiet because you could still hear babies crying.
Maybe it was for the kids who put their coats on backwards and were disrespectful to the Lord.
It was definitely for the disrespectful children.
I would have just been in there all
There was
the time.
Occasionally you'd see a kid get up, taken to the bathrooms by a parent, and then come back not nearly as rowdy as they were when they left.
Yeah, I know that the bathroom in a church is used for spanking. It's for corporal punishment. It is not.
It is there was
it's where you
1 out of every 10 people that went back there during mass was using the bathroom. The other 9 were getting their ass beat or doing ass beat.
Yeah, it's like, because you know what? Little kids don't want to be in church. It's boring. It is a very boring subject.
For their little crazy ass brains. I don't blame them.
Honestly, it's boring. It's boring for me too. I'm an adult and I still get bored. I went to a whole bunch and visited many churches while I was over in England, and that you could stay for the ceremony. And I'm like, oh hell no! I saw all your stained glass. I'm out. I don't want to do that. I went over and sang in your alcove where you had the high ceilings.
Yeah, we had that. Yeah, they had that. Oh, sorry. I know I'm stealing your thunder.
No,
here.
steal.
There was in our church, there was the whole back wall was basically an organ. Like it was floor to ceiling, just like a. But they rarely never used it. I think it was just out of service or something. But I always wanted to be like, man, I want somebody to play this bad motherfucker, because like the controls were off on like a whole other side where like traditionally you'd probably see a choir. That's kind of where it looked. I think they had like I don't know why there wasn't one. But yeah, there was, and I was like, man, I want somebody to play this organ because I want to know what this bitch sounds like, because I bet it is dope sounding. But they never played it. They had pre-recorded music that just played over like the PA system that was built in.
See, it's such a bummer when you walk in and there's like a big organ like that, and then there's like an out of service sign on it.
I don't even know if it was, but it was just never.
Well, a lot of times they become unusable because only certain people really know how to actually operate them now.
Yeah.
Not everybody's trained on that. So it literally just ages away and you lose that little piece of history, which is kind of sad. Because I would go to listen to the organ, I would go to listen to the choir, but I just don't want to hear the sermon or be taught anything that's anything to do with morals. I don't want to know about that. But okay, so now, because we are very organized, and we actually discussed what we were going to talk about in our episode because we're those kind of people. This wedding was in a tent outside, and it was not religious. And which I liked a lot because I wasn't bored and I didn't have to put my coat on backwards, thank God.
You should have,
but
though.
What I know, right? I don't know. There was a lot of what I notice about weddings nowadays are people are like, just come as you are. It's very Nirvana, like just come as you are. So you get a gamut of people who are dressed like as if they're in a beauty pageant, dressed up.
Then you have church style, and then you get people that show up like they're going drinking with their buddies.
Yeah, and then you get grunge, like people, because we're in the Northwest, so there's some people.
So they
that
never
show up
left
like
the fucking mid-90s.
Their dress flannels, I guess. And they're matching Crocs, not their mismatched Crocs. They're matching Crocs. You get those people, and then you get the girls who are like, woo, I'm going to find me a man tonight. Yoo-hoo. Those girls.
You're gonna get laid tonight, but you ain't going to find a husband.
I don't think they care. Well, they always want to catch the bouquet, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've been around that bouquet too much because I've been married too many times. So I am like running the opposite direction of the bouquet.
Smack
I'm
that
like,
shit
no,
out of
I
here
have
with a
my
tennis
own.
racket.
I have a built-in bouquet apparently because I just constantly get fucking married. So I tend to, and I am married right now, so I can't actually participate, which is good. But they get all excited about that. Like women, I'm like, do you even know? Like, do you really want that to work? Are you sure that you want to catch that bouquet? But they did all the traditional things, and they had a lovely catered meal, with meat, thank God. And then dancing started, and this is kind of what I want to talk about.
Did they have a dance floor?
Yeah, they just cleared
put out the
things
little.
out and
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so they did that, and they had a DJ, and they were playing. These people are younger than me, so they were playing a lot of stuff from like the 90s. They did throw in some 80s, so thank you for that, people. But so you get what I like to do with dancing is observe it, because I am not good at it myself. It is not something that I really excel at.
I'm not that good at it either.
I can do what I call the 8th grade dance, which is where you just step from side to
back
side.
and forth.
That's it. And I'll do a lot of upper body movement with no footwork, like where I'll just kind of move my shoulders like, oh, I'm grooving to this,
I haven't done it in a while, but I used to be able to marginally okay at a 2-step, but I haven't done it so long that.
Yeah, I can't
can do
that.
the
That
box
sounds
step
hard.
or whatever they call it. I can do that.
You're still winning over me. I'm from the 80s, and we didn't do any there was no real dance craze in the 80s. So nobody really learned any important dancing.
Because you don't need to know how to dance when you're on coke. Everybody doesn't.
You don't need
nobody knows how to dance. They're all just moving.
How do you dance? How do you dance to Duran Duran? How do you dance to that music?
You just
how
move.
do you dance
you
to
just
a flock
move
of seagulls?
to the best of your ability. That's all you do.
And that's what I did. That's all
Okay,
I
well,
could
then you're
do.
good.
So I can't really dance. So I kind of stand off on the side. I'm like a little wallflower. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to dance. So I watch the people. And what I notice is most people also can't dance. Like the majority of people are not good at this, but they think they are because they're a little drunk. And so I had started out the day at the funeral snotting up and crying. And I got to end the day after 3 old fashions, because I had 3 old fashions because it's my favorite drink. And I was a little bit like, oh, I'm relaxed now. And then I got to watch people dance and make asses of themselves, which I like a lot because that's super fun for me. So I just sat there, and then a couple of people asked me to dance. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed to do that. I'm a very not good dancer. And so, I'd had 3 old fashions. So by the 4th old fashioned, I did go out onto the dance floor.
I was going to say, were you ready finally to spread your wings?
Yeah. I did. And I danced to Dancing Queen by ABBA.
Yeah, that's good choice.
And it was clearly apparent that I was not
the
Dancing Queen. No. But at that point, everybody else has had a few old fashions, and it's really okay. So that ended nicely, and you're going to be so proud of me. My friend and I, on the way home, because I was a little tipsy, guess where we went? Take a guess.
Oh, where'd y'all go?
Guess where we drove?
Did y'all drive by
guess where we drove
a Jack in the Box?
Yes, we did.
Nice.
Because ever since the first podcast, when we talked about that, I wanted those fucking tacos. So I finally had an excuse, and I got my tacos, and they were delicious. By the way, they were better than anything that had happened. I was
going to say they were the best thing you've ever had.
They were the best part of that day. So I got my tacos. I was super happy. I even talked my girlfriend into getting hers. And also we split the onion rings, which are quite delightful.
Oh.
I told you about those too. So we got our onion rings. We went up to the room and
Jack in the Box, sponsor us, please.
Jack in the Box, we need you, man. Someone had dropped a medicinal marijuana cigarette on the ground because it's legal in Washington and Oregon. And the bride actually gave it to me. She goes, "Do you want this?" And I'm like, "Sure." You know, you just say yes, you know, out of, you know, and I go, "Where did you get that?" She goes, "It's off the floor." And I'm like,
"Yes,
okay.
I'll take floor weed."
She goes, "Well, it just came out of my cleavage too." And I'm like, "Okay. I don't have a problem with that."
Titty flavored weed, okay.
And then her new husband, who's a nurse, says, "Well, you know, that could be laced with PCP or something. I mean, maybe you shouldn't take a floor joint." And I'm like, "These are all your friends that are here. I'm assuming one of them dropped it. But if it's floor joint PCP, I don't think it is. I think we're fine. We'll test it out."
Let me know. Let me know when you're telling me a negative.
Yeah. I'm like, so far, I'm down with this. So we got our medicinal marijuana, and my back was hurting a little bit. So it was justified. So we got up to the room, and here's the thing about hotels. This is a nice hotel. They charged $150 for the night, which isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But I expect there to be a certain level of not having bed bugs, not being vomit soaked or stained. Like, it's going to be a decent place.
They wash the jizz off the sheets at least.
Yeah, they might even change the sheets. You know, who knows? Maybe they just take a Lysol wipe and wipe them down. I don't know.
Fancy.
But I'm expecting the fancy. And they're maybe actually doing laundry. So when you walk down the hallway, the first thing I noticed, because I'm a little drunk, we get checked in. We're walking down the hallway, and it's two different distinct patterns on the floor. One of them is great big flowers for a block, and then the next block is circles that are geometric and very 1960s looking. They do not match.
Yeah,
they're not at all the same.
I think every hotel I've seen, they do that shit. You know what?
What is that?
I wonder if that's so they don't have to have a pattern. That way, if something happens and they replace the whole thing, you don't have to worry about it lining up. Maybe, I don't know. Or they just buy it cheap, like, whatever they're doing. They're like, this was the cheapest shit, and who cares? It's a hotel. People are going to be shitting on this floor within 15 minutes of opening this fucking place. I don't give a shit if it matches or not. Like, they're going to, and you think anybody's going to come in and review and be like, their carpets didn't fucking match. 0 stars.
It was like, it's like,
look, there's probably going to be a gangbang down the hall. Fuck it if the floors match. Like,
yeah, it's like they go to Carpet World. I'm going to call it that. Carpet World. And there's 2 big bolts of carpeting. There's not one. One isn't enough. So they buy 2 and they just splice it up. So that didn't match. I mean, they were the same colors, but it did not match. And me and my friend both noticed that. I'm like, this is really ugly carpeting. But it's the hallway, so I don't care. It's fine, whatever. And they made the hallways what I called 1970s harvest gold. Do you remember those ugly yellows? It was
yes,
ugly
my
yellow.
parents had harvest gold appliances when we were growing up.
Okay, just imagine those all over the hallway with the
stove,
mismatched carpeting. Yeah,
they were harvest gold.
Yeah, and there was avocado green and there was harvest gold. Those were the 2.
I think those are coming back
colors.
too. I think those colors are coming back.
Shit. Well, apparently it came back on the walls of this hallway. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate. That doesn't even match this mismatched carpeting. It was another element that didn't match. I was like, oh, I just want to get in the room. So we get in the room, and actually it's very nice. The room looks really nice. A very nice bathroom. These are things girls look at, you know, like there's not a pubic hair on the toilet. Thumbs up on that. Yay. It looks like it was probably cleaned. And so the bed is a big king size bed, which is fine. I'm okay with that. This is my girlfriend since we were 12 years old. So a big king size bed's going to be fine for us. And it's got nice bedding on it. And they've got a little desk area with a little chair, you know, like so you can do
pretty much. I think that's almost standard now. That used to not be a thing. Yeah. But you go in anywhere.
Yeah,
and
they've got your laptop.
Did they have the little
area.
Fridge?
They did.
Yeah, that seems to be like, I think suites are what everybody's building now.
Yeah, and a little microwave. And then
get your little coffee maker.
They had a chaise lounge in the corner instead of a chair, you know? A chaise lounge. I want to say aubergine again, just because we're talking French. Is chaise lounge, and it had a little table that went over it, and it didn't look very comfortable. You know, like I'm a bigger girl, and I'm like, if I get down on that chaise lounge, I'm not getting up, so I'm not going to sit there. I'll go sit in that office chair. So my friend goes to sit on the chaise lounge, and she goes, "Oh my God, this feels like plastic. What is this material? Feel it." And I'm like, "I don't want to feel it. If it feels gross, I don't want to feel it. Why do you make me feel things that feel gross?" And she goes, "Well, smell it." I'm like, "Why do you make me?" She goes, "Oh, it smells terrible." I'm like, "Well, I'm not smelling it."
Probably come.
Yeah, I'm like, it's plasticky feeling and it smells bad, and you want me to experience it too? No, thanks. I'm going to pass. So I go to sit on the bed, on the edge of the bed, and I sit down, and it's as if you're in bedrock.
I'm going to say
with Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're paying $150 to sleep on a slab of rock.
Of granite.
There's no give. There's very little give. But wait, there are some springs because I can feel those poking through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is $150. Yes. And so as we get ready to go to bed, I'm still a little drunk. We lay down. I'm like, well, maybe I'm drunk enough that I'm not going to feel the pain of this. It's not going to hurt me as bad. So we're laying there, and I look at my friend, and she's got the look on her face like, oh my God, this hurts so bad. And I'm like, you know what? Here's the hotel I want to open. I said, I want to open the hotel that when you walk down the hallways, it's just dark brown carpeting. There's no patterns at all. It's dark brown, and it can be cheap because I don't give a shit because it's a hallway. I'm just going to walk down to my room. The walls are going to be off-white or a color maybe that hides dirt, gray. I don't care. And when you walk in, you're going to have a nice bathroom that's nice, and they're going to put every fucking cent of money in that mattress. I don't need the chaise lounge. I might want the office chair. I don't want anything else in the room. You can give me some hangers. I want all that fucking money in that bed because I need to sleep. Like, that's why I came to this hotel. I either came to this hotel to sleep or to fuck. And either way, either one of those options, I don't want to do it on a slab.
That's what the chaise lounge is.
It's not big enough for two people. Not two big people. Maybe two very thin, small people can have sex there, but not me. I'm going to roll right off that chaise lounge onto the floor. But I'm like, seriously, if you're going to charge $150 a night, it should be a decent mattress. Like, I shouldn't have to leave a review saying, I almost died. I was paralyzed from the waist down. When I woke up, I had to be admitted to the hospital, and I had to go through 6 weeks of physical therapy to walk again.
I woke up and felt like Christopher Reeves.
I did. He was more mobile than me and flexible afterwards. I could not move. I didn't sleep most of the night because it kept waking me up, but I was just like, why? Why would you not make the bed comfortable? I care about almost nothing else that's the main event.
Yeah, I don't go to I mean, if I'm going to be there more than one day, sure. Some other things are nice. But the primary goal of a hotel is to have a roof over your head for however many nights you're there. If you're going to the hotel during the day, you're probably paying by the hour.
Have you ever done that?
No.
I one time I'll do one guilty admittance because you know what? Church never worked on me. Obviously, it was always written in the stars that
this. Over your head.
Yeah, from that moment on, it was obvious that sometime I was going to check in to a hotel during the day. So I did check into the hotel, but I was so embarrassed. I knew I was only going to be there for a few hours with this dude, but I was so embarrassed that I paid for the whole night because I didn't want them to think that I was the kind of girl who would only show up for 3 hours. So I paid like the whole night, but I'm going to tell you something. That was like a $60 hotel room. And you know what? That bed was comfortable as shit in that cheap ass hotel. They put every cent into the bed.
Yeah.
And so it was okay. I'm like,
maybe
I need to
everybody's
go
having
for the
sex
cheaper
on them,
hotel.
you don't have a bad bed, so.
No, they won't come back.
They know where the money's at.
Yeah, they're into repeat customers. They know that they're going to get the repeat customer.
It's all about turnaround.
So
it's about the high turnover.
Yeah, that bed was comfortable. Like after we were done, I'm like, I think I might take a nap before I have to go. back home that's only a few miles away, but what the hell? This bed's
I
comfortable.
fucking paid for it, dog.
I did. I could have stayed the whole night if I would have wanted to, but there really was no other amenities. So, but they did the right thing. They put all the money in the bed, and I appreciate it. But this, I kind of wanna. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I kind of wanna.
Yeah, it's all one word. I think there's an apostrophe.
I kind of wanna. I kind of want to call ahead and have them send me some kind of proof that the bed's not going to suck before I give them my money. Like, I want one down in the lobby where I can test it and they can tell me. Like
those little short beds at Bed Bath & Body Works where they put the comforter and stuff on it to show you what it looks like.
Yeah, so I can get a little, scooch down and be
little
like,
half mattress or whatever.
Gonna work. Yeah.
Maybe like a twin.
Yeah, and
Maybe
then,
they just put a twin in the corner and it's like, this is the company that we buy all our mattresses from.
Yes. And I think that's reasonable. Like, they could just have a little tableau set up where it looks like a little bedroom over in the corner when you're checking in, and you go in, you test it out, and then you decide if you're really going to stick with it or not. Because I wish I would have known, because we would have checked into another hotel, because that was very uncomfortable. I just had got my back fixed. I went to my chiropractor the day before, and I feel like that just ruined everything when I slept on that bed. So yeah, I hurt myself while I was sleeping.
It happens.
But to be fair, I was sleeping on a slab of bedstone or Flintstone rock, whatever you call that. So we got up the next morning. We went to Elmer's Pancake House.
That sounds good.
I think it's becoming clear that I like pancakes. But I didn't actually have pancakes. I had these things that were stuffed hash browns. They were stuffed with Tillamook cheese and smoky bacon.
That sounds really good.
And they had applesauce on the side with a little bit of sour cream. And they were friggin' delightful. It was so good. And I read the calories on it.
And you're like, no wonder it's delicious.
Nothing on that menu. The least caloric thing
figures.
was
everything was 4 figures or more.
It was a German pancake. The German pancake was 770 calories. I think it's called a Dutch pancake or something like that. That was 770. That was the lowest item, unless you got like a hard-boiled egg.
Earl's Pancake House ain't raising no bitches.
Mine came in, my luxurious dish, came in at about 1,500 calories.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's a fucking breakfast right there.
And I was like, and that didn't have any toast or any bread with it. That was just these massive stuffed, whatever they were, hash browns, 2 eggs, and like 3 pieces of bacon. And you could, by the way, get gravy on the side if you wanted. I thought at 1,500 calories, I should not. So I did not.
Or you could say, well, it's already 15. Fuck it.
I know. And that's probably why I am the size that I am, is because I often choose that route. But I decided to be good, and I just got the mere 1,500 calories. But I want to be honest. I ate the 2 eggs. I ate the 3 pieces of bacon, and I only ate 1 of the big fat hash browns. So I think I might have kicked it back to about 1,000 calorie meal instead of...
Yeah, probably somewhere in the 11, 10, or... Yeah, you're probably close. Probably 1,000.
Yeah, and I'm just like...
Because you said 2
really
eggs,
good,
right?
Though. Yeah, it was 2
eggs is like 140 calories. 3 strips of bacon's probably somewhere in the 140 calories. Maybe up to 180 tops, depending on the bacon. That's also, like, bacon is so...
I know. I low carbed too. So they're usually 70 calories a slice.
Oh, yeah. I imagine those hash browns were probably pushing close to 5 each.
They were. That's where I think the majority of it was. And
probably 350. I would say 350, 357. And then you get another 5 out of the eggs, bacon, and, whatever else.
And there was more, it was more bacon in the hash browns. They were really good.
I'm sure they were
really, really good. But I didn't eat for I ate again last night, and I had like a really light dinner because I was actually still full because we did like brunch. It was like 11 o'clock. Yeah. I'm like, damn, that thing really sticks to your ribs because I'm still not
Earl
able
don't
to
fuck
eat.
Around.
No, Elmer.
Or Elmer, sorry.
Elmer's Pancake House.
Elmer does not fuck around.
If you're one of the 10s out there listening to us right now.
Elmer, if you're listening, buddy, good work.
Good work, and you can happily sponsor Smartacular if you'd like to. Hotel where we stayed, where I'm not going to name you because I don't want to shame you You're not invited to be one of our sponsors.
You can use, if you want to re-review them, you can use my quote. Mm-hmm. You can say, I would rather hammer my boner through the back of my ass than stay at this hotel again.
Will you send that to me so when they send me the little survey of how I felt about it, I can just email that right off?
My friend used that when he stayed at a hotel because it was so fucking shitty. He left that on this public review on Google or wherever he left it. He said for some reason they never got back to me about my complaints.
Interesting. I wonder why not.
Assholes.
Well, I think that you're, at that point you're just being honest. It's like that's really how you feel in that moment when you're in a lot of pain because you paid. By the way, I paid money for that pain.
Right.
I paid good money for that pain. So. Mm-hmm.
I could have went to the pancake house like fucking 10 times. I could have bought enough. I could have bought enough pancakes to fucking sleep on, and it would have been more comfortable.
I was gonna say I could have slept on the little bench they have in front of the pancake house.
Yeah,
and that would have been more comfortable. And I could have got up and walked right in and had my pancakes in the morning, and that would have been more comfortable than that bed.
Yeah. I've slept in a Cece's booth before. Not very long. I mean, we're at 51 minutes. You want me to go over that story since we're talking food stories?
Please do.
Okay. I was in college. Well, technical college. Some people may think that's not real college. Whatever. Get fucked. I paid for credits. Went to school. Anyway, so it was close to the CC's in town. Fairly close to the CC's in town. CC's Pizza for all the... It's a national chain. Y'all should know it. If you don't know it, that's not my problem. Anyway... Pizza buffet place. So I go there, and I was between classes. I had like an hour and a half, 2 hours to kill between classes, and I didn't want to drive home because it was like a 40-minute drive home. So I was like, well, I'll just go to CC's, pay my $8, and have somewhere to chill out till I go back to class because none of my friends were there. Their day was off, or they weren't in town. I don't remember the reason why. And so I was sitting there, and so I go to CC's. I do my normal thing. I get like my first 6 plates, pizza. I might have had a salad. I don't remember. But the only thing healthy about it would have been the lettuce. Everything else not. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I ate all that, and I had all the plates stacked up around me, and I shoved them all to the side and laid my head down on the table and passed out for like 30 or 45 minutes. Actually, what woke me up was the guy came and took the plates, the busboy, and then by that time it was about another hour-ish, like 30. It was somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. I don't know. I didn't keep track. And I got up and went back in line and got more food. Oh. And as I'm telling this story, another story from that same CC's. It was me and a buddy of mine. We went to the same school, and we went to CC's together one day. And he was a big boy like me. And we go in there and we're eating. And by the first, 20 or 30 minutes, we've got like you're sitting at the booth and like the plates are high enough they're almost touching the divider of the booth. And we get up one more time, we start walking to the front, and the manager's like, all right, we'll see y'all later. And we said, no, we're going back for more. His face. This manager's face is like, fuck, I'm losing so much money. I wish these dudes would leave. You
guys were really taking advantage of that all-you-can-eat buffet kind of thing. It's not eat until you explode. That's not the motto. It's not eat until you can't.
It's all you can eat. And I'm going to try to eat all of your fucking food.
And you put them out of business. They're no longer there. I'm sure.
And don't, oh man, if I can find a good Chinese food buffet, those poor workers there will have PTSD.
Yeah, you don't want to put people in that emotional
especially if they have crab rangoon.
Nice. Oh, that stuff's the best.
I'll fucking kill someone for crab ring. I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
I'll at least, probably physically harm them to get to them, to be fair. As we wind down in our podcast, we did again touch on food. I always like to kind of bring things back home. And in order to do that, after this wonderful escapade that was this podcast episode, I want to talk a little bit about another affirmator, and we're going to end on one. And it's called Follow Your Heart. And I think that this speaks to so much that we talked about during this. And it says, I'm always rewarded when I follow my heart. I trust that the GPS in my heart knows all the best routes. And when it seems like it's taking too long to get where I want, I know that's because there's somewhere cool and there's some cool, weird stuff to see along the way. That's what happens when you follow your heart. And I want you guys to know, when I was 4 years old in that church, I followed my heart and I put my coat on backwards and I pulled that hood up over my head, and I've never regretted it. And my husband loves me for that. And it's one of his favorite things about me was that defiant 4-year-old me basically told a whole religion to fuck off and got spanked for it. Totally got spanked for it, but whatever.
And that's why you have problems. Then that's why you have a weird spanking thing now.
Yeah, probably. That could be. It might be where it stemmed from. But I want you to know that you followed your heart at Cece's and you went back up for that plate. Even though you knew that the guy was going to try to kick you out. You still went for it. And you know what else? I followed my heart through that Jack in the Box drive-thru. And I got those 2 damn tacos that are equivalent to a crab rangoon.
Pretty close.
And it was delicious. I have no regrets on that. So you guys out there, listeners, the tens of you, there's probably 12 of you now. There might be 12. I want you to think about that as we end this episode. Follow your heart. It will take you to amazing places. And it brought you here to this podcast. That's, some good background noise today.
Yeah.
Thank you for making good background noise with me. I think we did excellent.
Of course.
We were our usual one step above static. And do you think we changed the world today?
Maybe for somebody.
You think
Maybe
so?
Not.
I just wanted to be, I hope somebody laughed one time. That's all I ask.
Yeah. And that might change somebody's day.
It could, especially if it was a crappy Monday. Like mine started out and now I'm in a good mood. So you guys, thank you so much for being here with us again. And if you're one of our 10s, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And if you want to leave some kind of comment on Podbean or I don't know, wherever you're following this.
Yeah, flick the Podbean, please.
Yeah, yes, please do. Leave us a comment, and we're going to have you can leave us a comment there if there's something you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah.
If there's some kind of static.
Yeah, anything.
We're happy to hear it. We'll just segue off of whatever you tell us and tell some other story, but we'll definitely start with whatever you're interested
We're
in.
We're ADHD friendly, you can tell by our stories.
Yes, we both are, I'm pretty sure. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
Have a good one.